Good afternoon, everybody. Just thought I'd stop in and I was reflecting on things a little bit today. Sometimes I do that. Little reflection's a good thing at times. I got a visitor too. Little buddy rabbit in the yard. Here, let me see if I can switch this around. Hi, little buddy. Cutting through. Well, that was our little visitor for a second. Never know. Sometimes they get really close once in a while, but I always be kind to them, and they will at times. They know who I am and what I'm about. But in reflection to some of the things that happened in my life, uh, it kind of leads into two stories, but I'll share the second one later on. Uh, Years ago, uh, I was a repair welder and certifications, did all sorts of stuff along that line, and it was one of the jobs I did before I went into driving school buses. And I worked for Omaha Steel Casting for a while and did very well at it. Worked real hard. But the story wasn't so much about that job. It was more along the line of uh, during my lunch break one time while I was there. We only had a short lunch break, about 30 minutes, and we had another gentleman who had his birthday, and wanted to make sure I got him a card so we could all sign it and be supportive. We're getting older, and he was one of the older guys. Uh, great young man. He was younger than me at the time, so I mean, newer to the field. But we wanted to support him because it was a really a tough job in the foundry where I worked at. Uh, Most people wouldn't make it there today. That's all I could say. Uh, but ran down to a grocery store that was very close to us. Grocery store is Baker's on Saddle Creek, if you know where that's at. Well, went into the store and I was working my way through the store to the card section. They have cards and that. And while I was there, I noticed a huge puff of smoke in the middle of the store. Normally, don't see things like that in a grocery store, and that was very unusual. Mind you, I had my leathers on as a welder, a repair welder at the foundry. We had leather aprons, leather jackets, leather gloves. Almost everything was fire retardant or fire resistant that I had. I even had my safety glasses on still from earlier, which was kind of amazing, but that's another part of the story. Uh, Again, kind of training kicks in, and I go running down quickly to find out what happened. I looked down an aisle, and this was the paper aisle. Huge aisle of toilet paper and rolls and everything else. And I see an individual just briefly run around the corner and take off. And the entire row of the top of the paper towel was lit on fire. Holy smokes. And mind you, if it would have got even more out of control, it would have spread to all sorts of the store. So I immediately start yanking product off the shelf that was on either trying to contain the fire to get it off. Another employee came running up and said, oh my God," and took off running. He disappeared, and I'm yanking stuff off, kicking it out of the way to get it away from the fire that was already ignited, because obviously there was some kind of liquid or something sprayed on it, and it was a problem, but I needed to contain it first. And two more people came around the corner that were employees, and one of them had a fire extinguisher, and the second one didn't have anything in their hands. And I told the second one, run around the other side and start yanking product off the shelf and get it away from this side, which they did. They went on the other side and started yanking product off. And the other individual with the fire extinguisher obviously had no training on how to use it, because they went running up to me and sprayed me from head to toe with this it's a PKP powder. It was basically a powder that's used under pressure and that to help extinguish fires. Well, I'm coughing, gagging, and I wasn't on fire. I knew that. I was trying to put the fire out, and I told him to stop. I'm white as a ghost now from head to toe, and fire's still going. Got him to set the extinguisher down for a second. It wasn't a super small one, thank goodness. Otherwise, we would have been out of extinguisher agent early on. I told him to put out the fire when I knocked the paper towels and toilet paper on the ground. Spray that, not me, because I'm going to pull it out so we can put the fire out rather than getting spread around. Which, at that point, they listened and they followed through with it. They were panicked before, and I understand panic. They sometimes do things without thinking them through. Took maybe another 30 seconds and we got the fire out. It was big enough where they had evacuated the store and people were running around, and fire department showed up probably 2 or 3 minutes after that. I had leathers and everything else on, but I didn't have any gloves on, and I had slightly burned my hands, and I had some minor burns to my face because I only had my safety goggles on. I didn't have my full welding hood or anything like that at the time. Didn't think I'd need it bringing it from work. But one of the store managers had run down and looked, and he had kind of panicked, but I told him, don't worry about it. The fire's basically out. Just need to make sure that we don't have any embers burning, and we'll be fine. And went and got the birthday card, went up, paid for it, was going out, and that's when I realized my hands were kind of burnt. And they had an ambulance there at the time, and went up to the ambulance because I knew they had some supplies. I wanted some antibiotic, like ointment or antibiotic, any burning ointment on my hands a little bit, and just to touch on my face. I knew a little bit about first aid, so that helps. But got some of that. They'd asked me, my name and that, and I told them, of course. And I had lost my safety glasses in the ordeal of trying to put the fire out. Somewhere in there in the mess, I'm sure it turned up at one point or another. But when I was yanking the other stuff out too, there was a lighter fluid can or something like that came flying out, and I wanted to make sure that didn't get reignited too. So, but yeah, got the fire out and got the birthday card and went back to work, and didn't have time for lunch, but we got the birthday card to one of our fellow members and made it on time. I wasn't late from my lunch break either, although I didn't get lunch. But you never know how you can affect the world in being at the right place and at the right time, how you can help others. If I wouldn't have acted at that time, I am pretty darn sure matters would have gotten a lot worse. There would have been more damage. But we're Nebraskans. We love each other. We help each other. We look out for each other. Just keep doing it with love. Never give up. And again, we'll make the world a better place. Outside of that, have a fantastic Tuesday, and we'll see you again.